Okay, seeing as I've got to cast this piece and I'd be leaning over it, I put on the paste and the initial face coat and brushed it in real well. It's really important that you take your time and you lay back your trowel and you brush that in to get it into the definition. It picks up and you won't have any pits or holes or whatnot. So it's really important to brush this out real well. And then I usually let it sit for a few minutes. And now what I'm getting ready to do is just top it. Now this is where the handle is. This is going to be the most recessed piece that I have. So I'm looking probably no more than about a 1/2 inch of thickness. And we just put that fiber mud down to the 1/2 inch thickness. And I make a gauge for students that are coming out for their first, castings. It's hard to gauge a 1/2 inch perfectly, but if I set you up with a gauge tool, you get a little better understanding of how to do it. Now I'm going over this edge just a little bit because I can always trim it. I would rather trim than have not enough. So I'm going over just a little bit, but that's okay. And after that sets up a little bit, I'll rub it in to get it to consolidate, to compact, and get this tight. Okay, so what I'm going to get doing now is I'm just going to cast some more. I kind of wanted to show you the little casting, and this is what we're going to do to all the panels. Is we're custom making the exact size. If you casted this whole sheet and you cut it, look at all your waste. All this. I mean, it all adds up. First of all, you have to measure, you have to mix, you have to apply, you have to demold, you have to cut, then you throw away. So I like casting more specific sizes that I need. That's why a cardboard template. One is I can see what I'm looking at. Does it look good? I see it in the cardboard, then I can see it in the rock. So anyway, stick with me. We're going to make some more. Okay, I wanted to show you guys the tape measure. This is the fattest part of the panels that we've casted, and it's just at 5/8. It's just a little bit over half, where this is like 3/8 is typically, it's shy of 3/8 by a 1/16. Again, this is really thin castings, but they're very strong. Again, highly indated, fiber reinforced, polymerized. It's a composite. You can cut it with a regular saw, drill it with a regular drill. It's something that you don't find in the market. All right, so I got the 5 lower stones cut with the diamonds. Obviously I got my rock cherry here, but wanted to fit these, and then I'm going to put the mesh on next behind it and start mudding. That's where I'm at so far. Lower half. So I've got all the panels for the seats and the side walls. What I'm doing now is, I don't know if you can see this, but I glued about 2 inches of this. I put the glue for the seaming of the liner on the liner externally, and I glued my mesh, let them tack up, and I stuck them together, and then I brushed over it a couple of times. But I mean, you pull on this thing, you cannot get it off. And then put my mesh on. The next day I'll be mudding these, so stick with me. I'm gonna get cleaned up. I won't show you that on the What are you guys still doing here? Hey man, this is kind of cool. All right, letting you know what I'm doing next. If I can get this hung. Taking a shower in here tonight, because this is a big shower, and I hate my little one. Anyway, I've got all the rock cut. I cut them in here and on the table there with the fan, and it was nice. But I got them all sticking in here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the mesh on tomorrow, glue it on with that rubber, the seaming liner glue, and This is really dusty. I cut a lot of stuff in here and it's just all dust. So I'm gonna wash it all down, clean an area right here, and then I'm gonna wash one panel at a time and just stick those over there just to kind of get them out of the way. But instead of taking these all the way out in the backyard, wash them and bring them back, I'm gonna wash them right here, let them dry. They'll be ready for me mudding the following day. So stick with me, we'll show you the mesh tomorrow. Okay, so this morning I've got all the mesh glued for the lower side completely. And you can see that the glue edge is 3, and then there's 8 inches there, 4 for this lower half, 4 for the above half. That's consistent. The same way here, we've got 3 inches glue, 3 inches glue, 4 inches on one side of the panel to that black line, 4 inches to the other. So you've got, when I let this set up a little bit, I'm gonna come back and start mudding, but you can clearly see the unglued areas, which are gonna hold the mud. Give me kind of like a little backing that I can put some mud on. Plus I put some mud on the back of the panel and I set it like it's a piece of tile or flagstone. So stick with me, we'll be right back. Okay, just a little overview here. I first obviously started by putting my liner down for the pan and I poured my concrete pond in it. Subsequently, I then put the liners on the wall. I put a 5-foot section first and then I overlapped a 3-foot section on that, giving my 8 foot. Pouring my pan liner, I obviously used a horizontal board to give me my edge on the top, and that was 3/4 out away from the wall automatically. Well, I also then poured the pond, and my bottom of that side wall came out to about 2 inches. So now any panel that I put in here is going to be 2 inches away from the wall at the very top of the panel. All right, looking at this drawing now, you see the blue line which represents a panel. Notice that it doesn't touch the floor because there's going to be a little mud between the bottom of the floor and the bottom of the panel to bond it. And then as well to the side of the pond and the back of the panel, there's going to be a little mud there. So, okay, next you're going to see me putting some styrofoam mixture of mud in there just to fill the void to where it's solid, leaving enough room so that I can seam the upper part of that panel to the next panel that's above it. At the end of the project, in theory, you would have a complete concrete wall that was seamed together, obviously in sections, but it would act as though it was one outer garment of cement, watertight. Beautiful. All right. I drilled 2 holes in the top of this panel right here that allow me to take a baling wire and hold it together so that it'll do what I want it to and stay in place. Okay, so far I put the bond coat on both of these sides. I did this one first, mudded it to where it's up to the floor, so it's cemented to the sidewall and the floor, it's bonded. And then I've backfilled this area, which is a seam. Again, the inside isn't. And then I'm getting ready to pour some styrofoam mud in the cavity just so I can mud this, and then I'll stucco up a little, like a 1/4 inch on that to where my next stone, I'll be setting it on there. But right now I'm going to do all these first stones all the way around. This is a column right here. So it's not even casted yet, but I'm just going to cement that full and then come over here. You can see my glue joint. So this is the area I'll seam this rock column to this. And we're going to do that all the way around. Same way on this side. This one, I did put the columns, going to go all the way up to the top header. But right now I'm going to be mudding this panel on right about here, I think it goes. And then it'll go this way, that way. So we're going to get all these mudded, and then I'll show you some more. Okay, I was just mixing up some styrofoam mud, and I thought, these guys haven't seen this. Maybe they'll want to see it. What I'm going to do is, this is a lighter weight mix. and it just fills the void back there. It's like a triangle. It goes from 0 to whatever it is, 2 inches. And instead of using fiber mud, which is more expensive, and all the acrylic and all the admixtures, I'm just going to make a little styrofoam mud here and fill that void back there and play it as I see it now. Okay, I just got done mudding the 2 first rocks, and my son came in and said, "Why are you 2 inches out on the top?" Well, again, that bottom kicks out. The bottom I'd estimate was probably it was 2 inches out, because this rock is absolutely up against the bottom wall with the exception of a little mud. I even took some screws, if you can see them, to make the rock stay, because I didn't want to pack a bunch of mud back here, in this whole thing and have it go. You can see I put this cross piece and that cross piece because those are wired. Those can't come out, and the bottoms keep them in there. But this guy, if he wanted to on the corner, you packing mud in there, that thing could bow out. I mean, it has the propensity to do so. So I kept those cross pieces there the whole time I mudded, and got it where it should be. It looks pretty good, and we'll be mudding the other ones. I also came along the edge of, this is a dual seam. It picks up the next rock up here that's going to be up here, so it gives something to mud to there, and then I'll do that up again. But this rock here, and I even had a little mud left over, so I came up on that a little bit. But that just gives your mud something to bite onto, hold, and it laps it together and makes it one. So stick with me, we'll be adding some more. Okay, so day 2 here. We mudded these 2 yesterday, and then I changed my seat idea. Instead of having it coming down to the floor, I'm going to make it look like it's just suspended there. And so I had to cut this out, plus that other side I dug out a hole to where I can put mud in behind the panel and have it come into the seat and hold it here the same. I didn't mud those yet, but this board here is going to give me a holding of this board from coming this way. And then the same with this, that end can't come out. And then this is braced right down to the outside. I got some screws. So this back panel and that panel are all firmly situated to where I can back pour it without any fear of it coming out beyond the plumb level. So we're getting ready to do these 1, 2, 3, 4 panels and the 2 seats. And I'll be back with you. I got the seat lids here, and those go on here as soon as I'm getting done mudding them. So anyway, I'm going to be keeping you abreast. Well, guys, I got the back of this panel about up to the wood, and then it starts to come down here on an angle, and I probably, as you can see, I came over to here. I'm up to about here, so it probably comes up to here, and then about right here to the seat. But I still got to fill behind these still. But I ran out of cement. These 2 chairs ate up some cement. I couldn't believe how much volume. But in order to make them cantilever like that, they had to go back into the pour there with steel. I used some concrete mesh, just cut it up. You made some L's that went down, L's that went up, the same way over here. So I got it to where it bites the wall real good. But I'll get some more mud tomorrow, and still keep trying to get this first section mudded. Okay, doing a rock shower here where this is going to be granite header, granite, look like cut stone all the way around the header here, and then the inside's also looking like cut stone. I'm just now got the first 5 panels laid. I'm going to have these colored orange real polyaspartic sealer on it before I even mud them in there. I'm going to do it, color it, and then put it in. But anyway, this is going to be a band of stacked stone in here. This ledge, which I made out of cardboard right now, is going to be stone as well all the way around, and then it gets going up, and then there's going to be like a crown molding made out of stone. But I'm doing this, 5.5 by 5 shower right now that I'm doing for my own house. Okay, so I'm working right now on this edge where I've cut that with a saw, and I don't want it to be cut, and I'm going to detail that in a minute. But right anyway, this has been cut with a saw, and I want this edge to be rough, not a straight 90-degree corner. What I've done is I'm working on this side right here, and you can see I mudded this shelf just to get it a little higher, and I got a little leftover mud. I could grind that down, but what I did was I started chipping this literally with a hammer. So I come in here and I just chip that pretty good. Not the same everywhere, but just randomly. And then I take a little piece of sandpaper afterward, rough sandpaper, like a 40 grit, and I just knock that down. Now, when I do this, I'm gonna hydro seal this whole thing. So any little pot, like there's a hole right there in the mud, and I gotta fill that before I can actually do it. But this is all gonna have a nice rounded edge, like a chipped edge. In the corner here, in the joints here, anywhere stone comes together, it's gonna be pre-chipped. Okay, I wanted to give you guys a quick update to where I'm at. I've got all the original panels that I laid. First thing I did was I had cut all these where they had a nice straight saw cut with about a 1/4 inch gap, and I was gonna leave that ungrouted. I didn't like that, and so I came back in and I chipped all the edges vertically and along the horizontals to make it look like a cut stone. And I've still got to go over and texture those. It's just like the seats where I've seamed all these panels together. I've chipped that, and I've still got to texture the seams, but I'll do that when I do all the rock. Currently, I have this all prepared. I've added my additional mesh up where I've seamed it, glued it to the rubber liner using the glue that seams the rubber liner. It's there and it ain't going nowhere. Now, I have created these panels. I casted them and I've stained them and I've sealed them because they're a high gloss. There's going to be literally a row of the stacked stone going horizontally, and I've got all those panels casted. I've got all these panels casted. There's a row of panels that sit on top of that shelf that look like cut stones. It's just going to be a row all the way around. And this stone and these diamonds are going to be stained and sealed with a high gloss sealer in an orangey kind of a rust color. So I want color and texture change and shape change as I go through this. So right now I'm getting ready to make this shelf, which is going to be made with these panels that represent this diagonal here. Up here on top, I'll go back to using these, which are flatter, and that'll be my shelf in here. But not really got any plans here. This is a custom shower, and I'm just making it as I go. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm gonna stain these as soon as I figure out these diamonds in the cover that go over them. I'm gonna stain those orange, that orange, and I'll have those. Those are gonna be installed after all this type of granite is stained a tannish, kind of a grayish granite color. And then this is gonna be a slate, like I say, and this will be orange rust color. So stick with me, I'll be showing you more. Okay, I just reviewed the last video I shot, and I realized that I didn't put this where I wanted it to be. So there's going to be a row of stacked stone literally all around, using these panels all the way around. This shelf also goes all the way around up to the door casings, which are cut stone vertically. So these will die in about 8 inches from the door. But this, like I said, is going to go all the way around. And it's just being looked at with cardboard. That's how I template. I get my angles, my lengths, and I cut the panels. These were all pre-casted to be that 8 inches that's going to be sitting on top of this. And again, all of these rust-colored elements that go all the way around in a row, these are already casted. I just got to stain them. Seal them. This, I had to make sure that the layout was good with the panels here and with the cover. I'm about to do those, get those stained, set them aside, set these aside, build this and the rest of the rock up, stain all of the granite, and then put these in after so that I don't get stained from this on this. That's kind of what I'm doing.